Hey, what's up guys, JD Venom here, back with you for another reaction video. Today we're going to be live reacting to 10 weirdest wrestling segments ever from Cultaholic Wrestling. The former original as of what culture they made their channel. It's been a few years now since they made this channel, but wherever you guys want me to react to, leave a comment down below. I'll shout your name out, or your names for the people who who comment down below the next video suggestion that I should react to. Also leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more reactions here every day on the channel. Let's go. Let's see the 10 weirdest wrestling segments ever according to Cultaholic. Let's go. See what we got.
Wrestling is inherently weird. It's a sport
doing this
which
list,
is a drama
as he
which
usually
is
does.
predetermined but physically knackering, and the most powerful person in
Or
the
Jack the
industry
Jobber, for the most
doesn't
part.
know what a burrito is. It's one of those things that if
Vinny
you
Mac.
get it, you get it. But to outsiders, it just doesn't make any sense. And honestly, can you blame them? One of the most revered wrestlers of all time is a near 7-foot zombie Undertaker who is also a satanic priest and a redneck biker.
But isn't that amazing? Undertaker's just, man, he's definitely in my top 5 of all time, maybe top 3. Love Taker, man.
And also some kind of dead cowboy. And let's not even get started on his brother. But even in this odd world of wrestling, some segments have stuck out for their
I remember that
unadulterated
segment. Oh man, Fashion
strangeness.
Files.
Coming from left field,
Those segments,
defying
but that one
all
in particular.
convention, and usually asking us to leave
Dungeon
logic
Doom?
at the door, they are equally celebrated and
Little People's
derided,
Court?
and often leave people like Lance
Orange
Storm and
Cassidy?
Jim Cornette turning a dark shade of purple. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic.com, and these are the 10 weirdest segments.
Alright, let's
in
see what it
wrestling
is.
history.
Show me.
But before we start, these are segments that are weird in comparison to their federations and surroundings. So there'll be no DDT Pro or Chikara or any other
That
zany
makes sense
company
because
in
they're-
here, because they are already bonkers from
Exactly,
the ground
they're
up.
it's comedy
Join
wrestling.
us.
Those promotions.
Number 10, La Dinner Debonair.
Okay,
This
well,
on this
yeah,
list was
yeah,
one of the most divisive
yeah,
wrestling
it
moments
was.
of 2020.
It
And
was.
considering
I
this was
thought it
the
was
year
pretty
of the
funny,
cinematic
actually.
match, that is quite the accolade. As part of NJF's ongoing quest to infiltrate the inner circle and remold it in his image, he sat down for a steak dinner with the
It had
group's
people
head
talking,
honcho,
man.
Le
It had people
Champion
talking.
Chris Jericho. What we expected was one of the greatest of all time and the best talker of a generation to go back and forth, bickering, chatting, whatever they wanted. The last thing we expected was what we
freaking
got.
dinner.
Out of nowhere, the
dinner
two launched
musical.
into a rendition of the Rat Pack classic Me and My Shadow, with MJF filling in for Sammy Davis Jr. and Jericho doing his best Sinatra impression. And they really gave it their all. Jabs at all the faces in AEW, backing dancers, tops and tails, Jericho turning bright red. It was a full-on Vegas extravaganza. Then, as
fun.
soon as it finished, they resumed their dinner like nothing had happened.
Alright, let me guess what number 1 will be. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head or what I think the number one thing will be of all time. Definitely something from WWE. I can't really think of it, but once I see it, I'm like, okay, that I will let you know if I agree with it or not, but I can't really, off the top of my head, can't really think of anything, because there's been a lot of weird stuff. You can go Katie Vick. I don't know if that's weird. It is weird, but I don't know if they're going to consider that for the list, the Katie Vick.
Imagine that.
So I don't know. We'll see.
MJF, book it, Big Bird. Number 9, Mean Gene meets Andy Warhol. WWE and celebrity appearances go hand in hand.
That was, if I remember that correctly, that was the War to Sell the Score back in '84.
As
Or a
WWE
brawl to end it
started
all. It was
picking
one
up
of those
steam
two.
in the mid-80s, it tapped into the zeitgeist and planted itself at the forefront of American entertainment. MTV got involved, as did Cyndi Lauper, and so too did Andy
Andy
Warhol.
freaking Warhol,
Backstage
man.
at the War to
The War
Settle the
to
Score,
Score,
you
yep.
have the usual suspects like Lauper, Hulk Hogan, Mr. T, and Captain Lou, all theatrically screaming bloody murder as a wig-sporting, winter coat-wearing Warhol looked on. Naturally, Mean Gene Okerlund wanted a few words with the pop
Mean
artist.
Gene, rest in
Warhol
peace,
was
man.
far from bombastic bombastic as he slowly, unenthusiastically, and quietly said, "It's so exciting, I just don't know what to say," when pressured about his feelings on the event. Turns out he'd walked into the wrong room and was never meant to be on television, so he and Mean Gene just ad-libbed. As a pioneer of pop art and at the forefront of the cutting edge and camp since
I
the
didn't know he
60s
did like the
and a
Campbell's
lifelong
soup
wrestling
painting,
fan,
like
it's no wonder the Warhol
you know that paint of the Campbell's soup can. He did that. I didn't know that until years later.
Involved with WWE, but he stuck out like a sore thumb.
Well, I'm not
in this
a
environment,
I'm
and
not
the
an art
accidental segment
guy
was
anyway,
truly
you know what I mean?
surreal. Number 8, Warrior is in the mirror. The Ultimate
WCW,
Warrior's
okay,
was
all right.
relatively short, but
You know
it was
what? The
chock
weirdest
full of
segment
all
that could
sorts of
be,
mad crap.
maybe, you
Bleeding
know what?
black blood
It
from
could
under
be
his hair when
Sting
feuding
and
with
Jake the Snake
Shango,
Roberts in
his numerous
WCW.
rambling promos about skeleton armies
When
and
they did
lightning
this
and stuff.
spin
If
wheel
it
make
was
the
on
deal,
intense, then odds are
and
Warrior was all over it.
Sting and Jake
Warrior's
Roberts
weirdest work
shot
occurred during
lasers
his
into
brief
each other's
and
eyes.
Watson run in
That was
WCW
amazing.
That came about because
That should be on the
needed
list.
his win back, brother. For some reason, this WCW version of the Warrior was a kind of magical wrecking machine. He knocked out all of the NWO bar Hogan with his ostensibly supernatural smoke during the god-awful War Games match at Fall Brawl 98,
That was a terrible
but
match.
that wasn't even the weirdest part of his run. Hogan was paranoid, which is understandable considering Sting had sent him his own head in a box relatively recently, so Warrior started playing mind games with him.
Bischoff sold that so bad it was great. He was like,
As Eric Bischoff had no idea what was going on. Only Bischoff didn't see Warrior, as the commentators and the viewers at home could see the ultimate trickery, and this segment was undermined instantly, only making it
how
weird.
can Hogan see it but
Number
not
7,
Bischoff?
Vince and Shane go to church. Vince McMahon likes to push the boundaries of taste and decency. It's made him billions of dollars and a legion of fans over the years, but the success quite clearly went to his head. Of course,
man.
Vince being Vince, his ego made him fearless and powerful. And after going after
Vince
rivals,
McMahon
politicians,
character on
fellow
TV
billionaires,
is
and the forces of
fantastic.
Satan on
The
WWE
character on
TV, there was
TV.
only one opponent.
Creative
Vince
Vince
needed to
McMahon
take on.
2021 now.
In his feud with born-again Christian Shawn
You know,
Michaels,
I mean-
Vince decided it was a perfect opportunity to pick a fight with an omniscient celestial being. Anyone else would have shied away from the idea, but not Vince. And in a quest to literally find God, he ended up in a church with Shane McMahon and had no idea what was going on. From spitting out holy water a la Triple H's entrance, criticizing God's work ethic, and reading aloud his own commandments, to a clearly uncomfortable Shane McMahon talking about his dad's tanned body and own semen, this was a demented segment that served only one purpose:
Look at
to
Vince's
massage
face.
Vince's
I love
indestructible
Vince,
ego.
man.
How the Heartbreak
I
Kid
love
didn't
Vince.
have a temper tantrum about this
He
is
may
beyond
be-
me.
he may be
Perhaps
a
he
really,
did change.
You know,
Number
not so
6,
great person
Little
outside the
People's
ring or
Cause.
outside the.
For all that D-Generation X is
WWE, but
rightfully
as a
celebrated, we
character,
can't
just
gloss
amazing.
over how terrible the 2009 reunion was.
Yeah, it was
the
pretty
shtick
bad.
was old,
I
the
didn't like it.
performance even older, and while the Attitude Era version was edgy and controversial, 2009 DX was tame and cheesy. And weird.
2009.
Hornswoggle emerged as a
Exactly. The
DX
2009
superfan,
version
but
was the
Triple
worst
H
version,
became
period.
arseholes
2006
here.
was fun.
Obviously, the two were soon
97,
summoned to Little
98,
People's
golden
Court to
years.
answer to their crimes.
97,
Now,
98,
if you
99
haven't
was what I
seen
grew up
this
on.
next bit is going
Yeah, it
to
was the
sound
best
like an
version.
extract from Alice in Wonderland. So,
Look at
DX
Shawn
go into the
Michaels.
ring, which
Well,
instead of
we
being
used to come out to the
cramped,
ring and be like,
dirty
suck
crawl
it, suck
space
it,
is in
suck
fact
it,
a
suck
massive
it,
sprawling
suck it,
mass
you
of
know,
corridors
just,
like the
it's great.
TARDIS. They eventually end up in a courtroom which is completely inhabited by little people, including a judge, bailiff, and jury of 7. Oh, hang on. I just realized that was a Seven Dwarfs joke.
Oh.
Bloody hell. Anyway, hijinks occurred because Vince McMahon thinks that little people are funny merely because they're little, DX got battered by everyone, and Hornswoggle somehow ended up joining the group. I have no words. This was just strange.
It was bad.
It does have over 13 million views on YouTube,
It was
though.
bad.
Might take some notes. Number 5, Rick Steiner versus Chucky.
Oh.
Hooray! More
1998
WCW
WCW.
bollocks. Remember
Yeah.
before when we talked about Halloween Havoc? That wonderful show in 1998 that featured the terrible Hogan versus Warrior match? Well, obviously there were more matches on the card.
Great
including
match,
Rick
DDP
Steiner
and,
his brother Scott
Goldberg.
going one-on-one after Scott finally
Definitely
went
one
berserk
of Goldberg's
and joined
best
the
matches ever.
NWO. In the lead up to Halloween Havoc, it was time for Mean Gene and the dog-faced gremlin to have a chat, only to be interrupted by a creepy cackle that had repeatedly rang out throughout Nitro. Who was it? A new roster member? A new associate of Scott Steiner? Maybe some mind games from Sting? No, it was Chucky. You know, the demonic murderous doll that scarred a generation. Yeah, him. Chucky
I
then
love Chucky.
proceeded to throw
He's awesome.
shade at Mean Gene and Rick Steiner, all in a lame way to promote
good
the
guy.
upcoming Bride of Chucky movie. But before he buggered off, he told Rick not to mess with Scott, as Big Poppa Pump was the lead in Chucky's next movie. I mean, imagine that. That would be true horror. It wasn't the first time WCW blurred the line between film
95%
fiction
chance
reality,
and a
though.
17% chance
Number
I'm gonna
5,
kill Chucky.
RoboCop.
RoboCop,
Really, this list
yeah.
should be called 10
Yeah.
mental things WCW did in the quest to be number 1. Let me set the scene. Capital Combat 1990. Ric Flair was in the midst of another world title run, and the criminally underrated Horseman lineup of Flair, Arn, Sid, and Barry Windham were making life difficult
That
for
was
Sting, Lex Luger, and all the other goodies.
decent
Flair was
version
set to
of the
defend his
Horseman.
title against Luger
Underrated.
in a cage match in the
I don't know
main
what
event,
to call it underrated,
so
but
to
it was
combat
a
the
decent
influence
version
of the
of the
Four
Horseman.
Horsemen, Lex's mate Sting
I
enlisted
like the addition of
RoboCop
us
to
to
help him
in
keep
that lineup.
order. You know, the fictional half-robot, half-man police officer from future Detroit that shoots people in the gonads. Everything about this was odd. Gordon Soley swallowing his pride to announce RoboCop's arrival,
Good
complete
lord,
with shaky
man.
cam and weird government types flanking him, Sting in his tiny vest getting locked in a tiny cage, Sid in a suit with flowing mullet shouting at RoboCop.
I don't
It
know
was
what
prime
he was
early
wearing
90s
right there.
madness as wrestling went
That
even
was
more
definitely nice. Look
cartoony.
at what
The
Sting's
RoboCop
wearing,
fad
just
was weird in itself
Zubaz
anyway.
and
Kids
everything.
loved RoboCop,
Amazing.
despite the first 2 films being incredibly violent and disturbing. Still, at least
I love
this was a
RoboCop,
harmless
and
one-off
yeah,
and didn't
you're
dominate
right.
WCW television for months. Number
I love
3,
RoboCop.
The
Love
Dungeon
the
of
games,
Doom.
man. Dungeon of Doom.
This is kind of cheating because the Dungeon
Yeah,
of Doom
so what are you gonna do,
storyline
the monster
did
truck?
dominate
You're gonna talk about the monster truck
WCW
and the
for months,
Yeti!
and arguably the worst wrestling storyline ever. Or the best if you're very, very drunk or are recovering from a head injury. But how do you pick just one strange segment from the Dungeon of Doom? Do you go for Hulk Hogan infiltrating their secret hideout and screaming that water is not hot?
It's not
Do you
hot!
prefer the debut of the Yeti, where what was quite clearly a giant mummy sauntered to the ring to awkwardly bum the Hulkster? How about a moustacheless Hulk Hogan running around with a sword in a Zorro costume?
man.
The Giant taking on Hogan in a monster truck.
All right, let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about the monster truck real quick. So, Halloween Havoc 95, right? They were on top of Cultaholic. They were in Detroit, Michigan. Freaking, after this was done, after this monster truck battle was done, Hogan and the Giant, the Big Show, they were fighting on the edge of the, they're on top of the, I don't want to say it's a skyscraper, but they're on top of a very large multi-story building, right? The Giant falls off, presumably to his death, only for him to come back a couple hours, not even a couple hours later, maybe about an hour later, to wrestle Hogan in the main event. Amazing. Even though this was pre-taped, this monster truck battle, but anyway,
Jam
it's
before being
amazing.
pushed off a skyscraper, only to reappear unharmed later in the night, or everything Ed Leslie did as the Zodiac. Barrel-scraping performances all over the show. The Dungeon of Doom played out like a cross between a fever dream and a deleted Power Rangers episode. It was camp, corny, and ultimately rubbish. But as a snapshot of how bonkers wrestling went before the Attitude Era kicked in, you cannot beat it. The weirdest part, though, Hogan actually dropped the world title to the Giant.
Yep.
The Hulkster doing the job? Bizarre.
It was his first match?
Number 2, Katie Vick.
Katie Vick? Okay,
No
number
list
2.
about weird
Alright,
wrestling
I was
segments
there. I
would
was like,
be
man,
complete
Katie
without
Vick has to be
mentioning
on
Katie
this
Vick
list.
now, would it? We've talked about it numerous times, but no matter how often we recount it, it doesn't get any less bizarre. So yeah, Triple H was at war with Kane, and in order to get into the big red machine's head, unearthed a dark secret from his past. You see, Kane
Can we get
once had a
Sting and
girlfriend
Jake
called
Roberts
Katie
to
Vick,
spin the
and
wheel
one
and
night
make the
while
deals
driving
number
drunk,
1?
Kane crashed his car
That'll
and
be
accidentally
amazing.
killed her. So far, so tasteless, and definitely not wrestling. Triple H went further though and showed footage from Katie's funeral.
I
where Hunter
screwed
in a
your
train mask
brains
climbed into a
out.
coffin containing a mannequin and fornicated with it. Even for 2002, this was rough stuff. It
Yeah.
led to a ton of complaints and even some walkouts from WWE backstage staff. But overall, it was just so odd and so farcical. Bruce
I
Pritchard
remember
has gone
watching
on to say
live,
that he's
too.
trying to blank Katie Vick from his memory, but if we have to
At the
live
time,
with
I was
that image of
14 at
Triple
the
H
time, so I
banging
thought
a
it was,
dummy,
oh, this
then
is
you
funny.
should too,
I thought it was
brother
funny.
love. Number 1, Mae Young gives birth to a
Oh, of course.
the birth
Of
booking
course.
for 80%
How did I
of Mark
not
Henry's
see that
career
coming?
is an odd yet often awe-inspiring thing. A huge beastly powerhouse of a man, you would think they would have pushed Mark as an unstoppable badass from day one, right? After coming in as a happy-go-lucky USA babyface and sinking like a brick, Henry had a brief moment of cool as a member of the Nation of Domination before melting, I guess, into sexual chocolate. For those unaware of sexual chocolate, let me sum him up for you. He liked making love. That was it. No nuance, no growth, just
and he had the Barry White music too.
Eventually, Henry ended up getting involved with Peach and Mae Young because it was the Attitude Era, and shocking pairings like this were its bread and butter. Obviously, Mae soon fell pregnant, and a few weeks later went into labor, surrounded by fabulous Moolah, Pat Patterson, Gerald Briscoe, and doting boyfriend Mark. Cue lots of farting, horrible creaking and squelching sounds before the miracle of birth occurred, and the doctor was holding an afterbirth of her hand. Turns out it was some long-winded joke about Henry's prowess as a love machine. But still, this was like a David Cronenberg movie without any of the class or philosophy. That said, I did question the meaning of life after.
Alright, that is Cultaholic's top 10 weirdest wrestling segments ever. If you guys like this, be sure to leave a thumbs up on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below on what you want me to react to next. I'll give you a shout in the next video. Or if your video does get selected, I will give you a shout out in the video. If you made it this far in this video, I want you to put down below spin the wheel. Spin the wheel as a comment. That's how I know you made it this far in this video. But guys, thank you so much. Thank you for the new support on this series here. And we're going to keep it rolling here in 2021, guys. I'll see you guys later. You guys have a great day. Peace out.